Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Amplify Startup Lagos. And today I have with me the CEO and Chief Technology Officer of OnlyPass Africa. And will be discussing and sharing with us out of his wealth of knowledge. Joining me as I welcome Ikenna Samuel.
Thank you. Thank you, Faith. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, good to have you here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just give us a brief insight into your background. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I'm Ikenna. I'm a technology person. I studied computer science
Okay.
from Imo State University.
Yeah.
Um, since that time, I've worked as a full stack developer in different companies across different verticals.
Okay.
I've worked with airlines. I used to be application and database analyst for Epis Airline,
Mm,
and I've moved from writing codes to leading teams.
okay.
Right, I led team at Trips, formerly Plenty Worker,
Yeah.
a bus hailing platform, just like you can call it Uber for buses, right?
Mm,
Where we built the technology from scratch for users to request ride from bus stop to bus stop, right? And then the
mm.
bus will come and pick you up and then drop you to where you're going. Currently, I'm leading the team at OnlyPass.
Well,
OnlyPass is a FinOps startup, right? So we are into aggregation of payment gateways.
mm,
So we aggregate payment gateways so that instead of you integrating single payment gateways, right,
mm,
with one API, you can integrate and have multiple payment gateways, and
yeah,
also will help you consolidate your reconciliation process. So instead of you also going to individual payment gateways to reconcile your account,
mm,
right? You just come to one single dashboard and you see your all the transactions across all the
wow.
different payment gateways that you've activated. Makes it easy for you to just switch on a payment gateway or switch it off. That's what I'm doing right now. That's my
Yeah.
journey so far.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, so my first question to you would be,
Mm,
as we all know, the payment solution, the adoption is massive right now,
yeah.
but the issue of security, fraud, resolution is still an issue of concern.
Yeah.
So, would you say the software technology, is enough to actually solve that issue?
So I tell people that anything that has to do with technology, right? The integrity of any technology, if a technology is able to solve a particular problem depends on largely on the integrity of the people that are building and maintaining
Mm,
that technology.
yeah.
Technology is not enough to answer your question directly.
Mm,
Technology is not enough. There are a whole lot of other factors you need to
factors.
put in place.
Yeah.
Number one, the people that manage that technology.
Mm,
Because even when you build a technology, there is supposed to be someone that needs to manage that technology, that makes sure that that technology is working the way it's supposed to work.
yeah.
If that person is not doing it right, it's going to keep being an issue. There is an issue of user education,
Mm,
right? And this is a very big issue. You can build all the technology you want. If users don't understand exactly what they need to do to keep things safe and all of that. Recently, I heard of a woman that was um, she was defrauded of very large amount of money,
mm,
right? And when I was reading the story, I found out that she called a supposed customer service of a particular service provider,
so,
financial service provider,
mm,
and they told her over the phone to give them her username and her password, and
mm,
she did, right? And when they initiated transactions, right, she was getting OTP, and they were calling, and you know that OTP is a
yeah.
form of security, a
Yes.
second layer of security, for our financial transaction. And they were telling her, please, we need the OTP, and she was willingly giving it to them, and they were, withdrawing. She was just seeing alerts, right?
That's
Before she knew what was happening, not only have they taken money from her account, but they've taken loan,
mm,
like on with her name, with her
Wow.
details, right? So that is to tell you how important it is that no matter how sophisticated and security layers you built on top technology, if
Mm,
the user education part is not well taken care of, you
mm,
keep having people complaining that there is a fraudulent
yeah.
stuffs working. So it's not enough to build a good technology. You need to
Mm,
make sure that the people that are managing that technology have integrity,
yeah.
right? And you need to make sure that you educate your users on how to keep things safe.
True.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ikenna, I haven't worked with both foreign and local startups.
Yeah.
Would you say we are there yet in Nigeria in terms of software development? Would you say how would you rate Nigeria?
Okay, so um, rating Nigeria in terms of us as a nation, or rating Nigeria in terms of the talent in the nation, right?
Um, let's do both.
Okay, let me do both. So we have we have good talent,
Yeah.
right? And when you ask, are we there? Personally, I think we are. We have a
Mm,
lot of Nigerian developers, Nigerian engineers that are doing a lot of things when it comes to building technologies, both home and abroad,
mm,
right? There are a lot of Nigerians that are here in Nigeria, but they are doing things for companies abroad, and these are companies that are doing billions,
mm,
both in transaction and evaluation, right?
yeah.
Then Nigeria as a country, um, we are trying, but the environment is not um, yet, at a very good place for technology to thrive very well. For example, let's even take the most simplest thing, internet connection,
Mm,
right? It's
yeah.
a big issue for a lot of technology people in this country, right? And I think there is a lot these days when I go to Twitter and you see someone post something, tweet something, and then you see someone come under the tweet and then they are calling out a particular ISP or the other. Do you
Mm,
understand?
yeah.
And it's happening a
Yeah.
lot these days. That is to tell you the kind of problem we have there. So as a nation, there is still a lot that needs to do, especially from an infrastructure perspective,
Mm,
right? But when we want to talk about as individual developers and all of that, I think we're really doing very well.
mm,
There is still, of course, there is always room for improvement,
yeah.
but yeah, we're doing well.
Okay.
Yeah, I know of developers that have left the shores of this country, and where they are, those of some of them that are personal friends to me, they are leading teams abroad,
Okay.
right? They are leading,
Mm,
technology teams abroad. So
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, so Ikenna, just the way you said there are very good developers out there.
Mm,
You sure know we have some half-baked ones too.
definitely.
Yeah. So how
Mm,
do you as leading a team, how do
mm.
you recognize the right talent? Because there's some developers they do tell you, "Oh, we
We're
can do
good.
this, we're good," but
Yeah,
after a few months
to
you
find out
find
that.
out they don't even understand the product, they don't understand what you're trying to do. So how do you
Okay, so
um
first of all, talking about half baked, it's there, especially in this rave of tech bros and techies,
yeah.
right? So everybody wants to say, "Oh, how do I get into tech?" So, and some of them, I remember when I used to teach people programming,
Okay.
early days of my programming, journey. When I get into a new class, the first question I ask them, each and every person in the class, is, "Why are you here?" Right? We'll just talk. You see, some people will tell you, I'm here because I love building things. I saw something like this. I saw a particular program and I'm wondering,
Mm,
how was this made? I want to be able to do it. And then you ask someone else, the person will say, man, there's money in this business, right?
mm,
Once I see that, I will see a half big developer in the making. Because I
mm,
always tell them that the money should not be the drive,
the drive.
first of all, right? Because it's not that easy, and most of them drop, out on the way, right, and all of that. But then, to your direct question, there me there are a lot of platforms that help people these days to get developers, good developers.
Mm,
We have establishment these days that train developers. We have um, what's their name, Decagon, that
okay.
help. Yeah, we have old school. We have, establishments like this that are coming out to help, and that is the problem they're trying to solve. We don't want to have big developers. So most times when you go through those channels, you are certain to a very great percentage that you're going to
Mm-hmm.
get developers that know what they are doing. Now, knowing what they are doing, because what causes us to have big developers in the first place is developers that don't even understand the foundation of development, right? You just want to start doing things, so you don't understand the basics. And because you
Yeah.
don't understand the basics, when you start advancing, you see them doing things that are not supposed to, how it's supposed to, things that can cause a lot of problems in the system,
Yeah.
right? But if they get the basics right, they are good to go. So, and that is what some of these establishments are doing, getting developers that are training them to get good at the basics. Then some of them send them out for interns
Okay.
where they come in and start working with senior devs, right? And when
Yeah.
you start working with senior devs, you start understanding some things. They are reviewing your code. You are not just a one-man squad, right? And through those reviews and all of that, you get good and all of that. So for me as a person, I either go through these for places I've worked
Yes.
through these places, or there are some also developers that are quote and unquote self-taught,
Mm.
right? They taught themselves, and through that self-taught, they actually learned the basics,
Mm.
right? Um, Whenever I get developers in, they have a probationary period, right? We give you tasks, and also when I'm looking out for developers, I don't just also look out for skills
Mm.
alone. I also look out for personality, right?
Mm.
Because you need to have the right attitude to be able to handle the kind of pressure sometimes that comes with the work that we do,
Yeah.
right? Especially in the startup world where speed is everything,
Mm.
right? So you need to have people that have the right attitude, the right mentality, and are willing to learn. Because in this work that we do, what you know today, tomorrow might be somehow invalid, or you will have a better way of doing it. So if you are not constantly
Constantly.
updating yourself, if you're not the type that is willing to learn, right, you might start off good and
Mm.
then end up as half baked, so to say,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So that is what I
Sure.
have to say.
Yeah. Thank you, Ikenna. So, I want us to talk about, the jackpot way, yeah, and this is common among, tech bros, Texas. You see a
Yeah.
tech bro, they say, oh, I just want to leave the country. They have a number of them go through the global talent visa route. So, what are your thoughts about this? What do you think?
Okay, so it relates to what I spoke about technology for us as a nation,
Mm.
infrastructure,
Yeah.
right? Um, I've once been in a meeting where it's an organization that is not a Nigerian organization, right?
Okay.
And my internet was not good. It was so embarrassing, right? Um, it was so frustrating. Because of these infrastructures, there are a lot of limitations. As a developer in Nigeria, for me to pay for some things in dollars is a
Nice.
big issue. And
Mm.
there's a lot of restriction everywhere. Do you understand? Yeah, it has given rise to solutions too, but some of those solutions, believe me, some of them are not as seamless as they put it out. For example, using virtual cards to pay for items, right?
Yeah.
It's been a problem. I know how many virtual cards with different platforms that I have. When I want to buy something, I want to pay for something for $50, I'll try five cards, right? So
Mm.
when you have an environment that is like that, and you know that you have a skill set
Mm.
that when you go out there, the infrastructure there supports what you want to do and all of that. A lot of people would want to go,
Mm.
right? And then another thing is um, work environment. Now, this one is not the infrastructure thing, right?
Okay.
If I'm working in a place where people don't, the management doesn't understand so much system, how to structure things to make things work, they
Yeah.
make life sometimes a little bit unbearable for you because
Mm.
if you put you under a lot of pressure,
Yeah.
right? And we now live in a connected world where we see how it's done in the other
That's right.
parts of the world,
Yeah.
right? People would want to know. And I would encourage people, if you want to retain developers, right? I'm personally, I believe that you have to be free with developers. I don't know whether to say fortunately or unfortunately, developers have the kind of work that, see, it's difficult for a developer to work for only one establishment. It's difficult. Even if they are not working as full time, they might be working full time and freelancing another one,
Yeah.
right? So I tell people that are leading tech teams that first of all, you have to accept that truth first. And like we say, know this and know this. So you have to accept it first, and then you have to be very empathetic, right? Um, if you make your developers love working for you, right? Even if they jab back, they will still keep working for you because right now the way the world is connected. It doesn't even really matter for me where you are. As far as you're delivering on your KPIs, you're delivering on the things you're supposed to deliver. I shouldn't even think we should be threatened so much by it. If you have a good work environment, whether you're in Nigeria, whether you're abroad, developers will always work for you. And I'm saying this from personal experience because I have managed developers that are in Nigeria, I've managed developers that are outside the country, right? And if they're in different time zones, yeah, it might be a little bit difficult. But if they're in the same time zone, right? I remember one of the places that I used to work. I was managing like about 13 developers. We're coming to work every day in this Lagos, right? We're coming to work every day, and we had a lot of things to deliver on. I had to one day tell. They started telling on my team, so I had to tell the management that see, for us to be productive, we need to give them remote work. People should be able to work from wherever they want to work. At first, the management, they weren't having it. They were into the traditional way of working, coming to the office and all of that. Until one of the developers, one of our most senior developers, funded resignation. So everybody was like, "Is it that serious?" So I told them, "Yes, it is." And I asked them, "What is more important, seeing their faces or them delivering on the tasks that we have, and making sure that the business is running as it's supposed to?" So we started coming to town, but because also the company was very heavy on, that people social life kind of a thing. So we had to strike a balance, right? We said, okay, you have from Monday to Thursday to work remotely. Friday, everybody come to work. So most times all come to Friday just to catch up, and people loved it, right? And until I left that place, I think it was only two people that relocated. And even when they were relocating, they came to me and said, "Please, can I still keep this job when I move?" I said, "Of course." And as far as you're good, as far as when you get there, what I do is that when they get there, I said, "Okay, we're going to give you 2 months to see whether you still be on your game, you'll be able to do it. So if you're doing that, we continue. If you're not, we'll tell you we're sorry, it's not working for us." So I think that's the best way to manage it, right? For so that it doesn't look like a threat. For me, a developer wants to jump, but it's not a threat to me. As far as you're good, right? And I have built a good relationship with you, right? That's it.
Yeah, thank you so much,
Yeah.
Ikenna. It's been an insightful section. So finally, I would just want you to, just address aspiring developers, people that want to go into tech. Nigeria, there's still a lot of issues to solve, and we
Yeah.
believe that software can actually address this issue. So just give your final notes and
Yeah.
thoughts. Yeah.
So on final notes for aspiring developers, first of all, like I said, money is good, but don't go in for the money because if you go in for the money, you might find out you'll be frustrated because the money won't come immediately because there is a lot of things you need to learn. Especially, you don't just want people to be calling you to, "Oh, come and do this small job for me," and all that, and you just do petty jobs. If you want to do real job, you need to first of all remove money from your mind, right? But one thing you will know is that if you are able to take your time, learn the things you want to learn, invest in yourself in learning, get mentors, right, that can show you the way, right, that can help you avoid some of the mistakes that they make, right, you find out that you will become a person of value as far as being a developer is concerned. And once you become a person of value, value will always return to you and it will definitely return in terms of finances, money, hard currency, local currency, and it will also return to you in form of relationship, career relationship, career connections that will always help open doors for you, right? And all of that. So don't be in a haste. Don't think it is something that, oh, if I start it today, tomorrow I will blow. No, because that is one of the most, one of the highest reason why I see people. Oh, I want to move here because there is money there. Yes, there is, but let that not be your first. Even if it is, pretend. Pretend that it is not, so that you can allow yourself to really learn. Because it is when you've done that that you will be able to, not be classified as half-baked, and then enjoy what you
You
do.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ikenna. I absolutely enjoyed the conversation. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for having me.
You're
It was very
welcome.
good.
Yeah. So to our viewers, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and share the video, and stay tuned for subsequent videos that will be dropping on Amplify. And in the meantime, kindly follow us on our social media, on LinkedIn, on Twitter. We have a lot of news that we share on events and the startup ecosystem. So till we'll come your way next time. It's loving and goodbye.